Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturcio and Chris Gucci.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode and edition of the Mojo Market Report right here on a Wednesday, hump day of the week. It is May the 24th. Is it coming up? When's your birthday? 26?
My birthday passed.
No.
When's your birthday passed?
No. Stop. When is it? 26?
Friday.
All right, cool. So it is the almost birthday boy, Chris Gucci, and of course, Dave Sturcio is here once again from Chop Studios. And of course, it is another loaded show. A lot of things to talk about last night.
It sure is.
Yeah, I mean, it always is. I mean, come on. It's sports. There's always something to deliver, no matter what. And laptop, dead. Awesome. Love it. Got it. Love to see it. Get that phone out in case you need any reference to anything. Or, you could refer to the run sheet that I do so eloquently. I can't speak that word, but eloquently.
You speak so eloquently, like Mike
It is
Tyson,
eloquently. I think I got it right. All right. Anyway, let's get into the NBA. Last night, obviously, we were all hoping, from a production standpoint, no, I'm kidding, that the NBA would finally reach its peak where they would have two teams in the finals. Didn't happen. The Boston Celtics and they're alive, I guess, sort of, kind of, not really. 116-99 last night. The Celtics go into Miami and steal one. They needed this one so bad. When you look at the game as a whole and the series as a whole, the Heat have been playing out of their minds. Is there any bit of you that feels like this could be a Boston Red Sox type situation where they're down 3-0, they come all the way back?
No.
Good. Back to you. No, but anyway, last night, Tatum goes for 33. The Celtics collectively had a good fourth quarter, which, again, has been their little bit of a bugaboo for the last 3 games where they don't show up in the third quarter. All starters, including, obviously, Tatum, in double digits. So a good team win there. Listen, Butler, he can only do so much. 29 points last night. Their role players didn't play their roles as well as they would thought. Had a great first quarter. I thought, again, I'm rooting for the Heat because I just don't like Boston or anything Boston related. So I was excited after the first quarter. I was like, you know what? They're gonna run away with this one too. And it was just to no avail. Did you see any of the game?
No.
Okay. No, but in reality, give it like a percentage. How much percentage do you think?
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah,
okay.
They're not winning 3 straight. Come on, give me a break.
I mean, they are.
The Celtics have shown
throughout the course of the year, they're one of the best teams in basketball.
But throughout the course of the postseason,
no,
I haven't
struggled.
seen them play well consistently. There's too many. They're going to win 4 games in a row against one of the hottest teams in basketball right now.
Maybe
I
they've cooled
don't
off.
see
I
it
don't
happening.
know. I can't see it. I just, for Boston's sake, for Portnoy and all those guys at Barstool, you just kind of I've been saying it. Celtics in 7. Is there another organization that doesn't know? How did they get the sports title in Barstool? Because none of those guys know what the hell they're talking about. It's ridiculous at this point. But listen. Got to respect their loyalty. Got to respect the fact that they love their Boston sports. But I think the jig is up. I think this series ends on Thursday. We'll obviously preview that game tomorrow as it comes closer. Pick that game. And, of course, if it ends, it ends. If it doesn't, guess what? We got some more basketball over the weekend because, the NBA Finals doesn't start until, July 4th, I feel like, at this point. So the series, like I said, series as a whole doesn't look great for Boston, but kudos to them for picking one off last night. Not much to talk about as far as that's concerned. Now, baseball, that's another story. See, you missed a lot of the baseball talk over the last week, so you've seen the Yankees have picked things up. They get back on the field last night. Another big-time Yankee win last night against a very formidable Orioles team. That team came out of nowhere. It started last year a little bit, and now the Yankees took to the ninth. Aaron Judge hits a blast to tie it in the ninth, and then the kid, Anthony Volpe, with a big, huge sac fly. I guess you can call it a huge sac fly, but he put that ball deep center field, so it was a nice, got wood on the ball.
Was it an out?
It was, but they won.
But you wouldn't know it was an out. I definitely thought for 3 hours, because I didn't watch it live, that he hit a walk-off bomb based on Yankees Twitter and Dave's post.
No, I got excited because it's look, he knew as soon as he swung, all you got to do is put the ball in the outfield.
He did his job, but there were, it was one of those things where the celebration, they were epic Yankees pick, and it's bubble gum in the air, and it was great moment. I'm happy they got the win.
You don't consider a walk-off sac fly a game-winning type situation?
No, it's just I mean, it was. Yes.
It's
I
left
do.
to be desired.
It
I guess
won the game.
It's not a blast. It's not
I expected more based on Yankees Twitter. That's all I'm saying.
We got a little excited. Yeah, sure.
Fair?
That's fair.
Now I know why everyone hates us.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, that ninth inning was big. Obviously, Cole was on the mound last night.
Rays
He
lost
doesn't get
again.
the win. Huh?
Rays lost again.
The Rays did lose again. The Yankees are now sitting
5.5?
4.5 back.
4.5?
Yeah. So look, quietly, before you know it, I'm sorry, the Yankees are 5 games back. They're 2 games back of the Orioles, 1 in just the win column, 3 in the loss column. But when you look at that division as a whole, the Rays, within their last 10 games, are 5-5. So they've cooled off a little bit thanks to a couple of the wins by the Mets. Mets couldn't get it done last night again, but they just remain 4.5 back of the Braves. We'll talk about a little bit more of the Braves in a minute because there's a guy we want to talk about within that roster that just looks like he's tearing the cover off the ball every time he's at bat. But when you look at the Yankees as a whole right now, again, they're, 50 games into a season, right? So you got 112 games left. So it's a very long season. 10 games over 500 at this point right now is almost reminiscent of what they did last year, and all of a sudden they just started going on this run. Is this team built to go on a run this year with the roster that's assembled right now without Stanton?
Going into the season, everybody thought that the Yankees were going to be a real threat with the pitching additions. They haven't gotten fully healthy yet. You're starting to see the lineup come together. Bader, Judge. When Judge is swinging a hot bat, the team is just on another level. So if Aaron Judge,
their record with Judge is stupid.
If Aaron Judge continues to play the way he's playing the past 10 days, it's going to be tough the Yankees are going to be a tough out. Everyone in the lineup is elevated. It's just a much better Yankees lineup when Judge is swinging a hot bat. They need Rodon back. They need bullpen to stay the way it is. I know that they're going to need help down the line with the bullpen because you would imagine that some guys
Canley's coming back.
Tail off. That's fine, but what's he coming back to be?
Well, that's my biggest concern was Rodon, but apparently he's pitching with no struggles right now.
Well,
so
I want to
see
him pitch in the Bronx with no struggles. That's what I want to see.
Fair.
Deep into the postseason.
Fair-ish.
Right? That's what we signed him for.
Truth.
I do think the Yankees.
Houston.
The Yankees are built to be a contender this season, 100%, absolutely. And if you look at the division, now I know that the Orioles are playing better, the Rays are playing better, but if you look up and down those lineups, they're getting career months out of 5 guys each. You know, like is this really sustainable for these guys? The Orioles pitching isn't good. It's like it's above 4.5 team ERA. That's not going to get it done. That's not sustainable winning baseball. They are going to score a ton of runs. I feel like this team is young. They have offense. They play with a little bit of bounce, if you could call it.
Sizzle.
Call it that. Yeah,
sizzle.
They got a little zest.
Pep in their step.
Pause. But they don't have good pitching. I think the Yankees do have good pitching when it's all said and done. When you look comparatively around baseball, Yankees pitching is way above average.
Look at this rotation right now as it stands. I mean, it's Cole, it's Nestor, and now Severino's back. So all of a sudden you have 3 that you can somewhat rely on that you're going to get some kind of decent performance out of them. You add a Rodon, you add just piece it together.
Then once Herman comes back, if you could figure out how to cheat without getting caught, then we're going to be fine.
Right. Figure it out, Domingo. Figure it out, man. Just hide that stuff in your back pocket. I don't know. But the Yankees are in a good situation right now. Speaking of, kind of segueing over to the Mets in the NL, we said it plenty of times. Their offense was struggling at first, but now they've picked it up a little bit. All they need is their old guys to get in there and pitch gems each and every time they're out there. If not gems, but just keep them in ball games. Don't get shellacked. Don't throw out this performance where you're just I got to read a post from Ibby saying just didn't have it tonight. Like, you can't have those. Not in the NL East.
I think they both pitched on Sunday in a doubleheader.
Yes, sure.
Right? And they both pitched well.
Yeah, of course.
So I think that's not going to be an issue when it comes to winning baseball games throughout the course of the regular season. The Mets are going to have that in their back pocket with Verlander and Scherzer. It was a little everyone gets a little ahead, but they are their age. So it's understandable why people think that they're going to be done the minute that they get shelled. I just think that there's a little more left in the tank. I don't know how deep of a postseason run they can make with the other teams in the National League, but and as far as their lineup goes, Pete Alonso is their entire lineup. You can make the case that
Can we stop humping the gate, by the way, Pete?
You can make the case that Aaron Judge is also the entire lineup for the Yankees. Point blank, 2 best power hitters in baseball right now, probably in New York.
Who's the better player?
Aaron Judge.
Is it not close?
I don't think it's close.
Okay, just
I
curious.
mean, Pete Alonso's a really good hitter. I don't know what he's bringing to the table in terms of his fielding, but he's a first baseman, right?
How hard could it be?
Aaron Judge plays center field, and he's a Gold Glove right fielder regardless. So, and I'm a Yankee fan.
Truth. How confident are you in this Texas Rangers team?
Not.
You're not. So they're 30-18. They've started off very, very well. They're in first place in the AL West. All of a sudden, you have a guy like, as I go down this list, Garcia, who has 14 home runs. Like, and obviously they have Evaldi in their
real deal
rotation.
But I don't. That's what I don't believe in. I don't believe in their starting pitching long term.
DeGrom's going to go down eventually. Like,
I mean, isn't he already down?
I mean, he's kind of down. He's always down. But like, to be honest, what you spent on that guy, you would hope that he gets his 30 starts in a year. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
I hope Texas makes it deep
Why?
because I'd like to play them.
Sure.
Later on, in a postseason series, I think the
Not
Yankees
wrong.
will beat their ass.
Just going over the league leaders right now, just because this is something that actually has a lot to do with your Mojo stock. If you have investments in these said players, something to keep in mind that they're off to a red hot start. Can they sustain it? You just mentioned Pete Alonso. He leads the league in home runs with 17, right? So he's just crushing the ball. Then you got Max Muncy out of L.A. We just talked about Garcia. Matt Olson, and rounding at the top 5 or 4 would be Aaron Judge with 13 home runs. So Aaron Judge is off to another really, really good start. He's in the lineup. He's healthy again, so the Yankees are rolling. The batting average stuff is through 50 games is very impressive to me because I'm looking at this, and you said something, we were talking in pre for a minute, about Acuna being just a little bit more far removed from the knee injury. He's batting .342. This guy going to win MVP? Like, is that possible?
There might be a show where I said he's going to win MVP. I'm 100% positive I did say it going into the year. I just don't know which platform I said it on.
Right.
But, I think Acuna, I had him in fantasy last year. It was just a year too early, but this is going to be the year. You see him doing things that he was doing when he first came up. The other day, he was on second base he stole third on a walk, basically. He just caught Muncy, who's actually in the list he caught Muncy slipping, and against the Dodgers in a game that's, these games are heightened because it's the Dodgers,
Every
Braves.
time.
They're going to probably meet in the postseason, and you get Kai slipping. This is Major League Baseball. So when you take a base, when the ball is in the infield, I think you don't see guys doing that all the time. You have to be really, really good at baseball to notice these things. Tatis does it a lot, like where you just steal a base.
It just seems like it's not like gamesmanship. It's almost as if like I'm proving to you that I'm a really, really good baseball player. I know that sounds so generic, but like think about it. Like these guys are so smart
on the base path. One of the most
underrated
underrated things in baseball is good base running.
Yeah.
And it's something that not everybody a lot of people take for granted. You just assume that a major league player knows what to do in every game situation.
Ask Aaron Hicks.
You assume. And realistically, they do know, but it's not as easy as you think when you're in real time and you have to make the decision on the fly.
I wholeheartly agree.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Acuna, MVP.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
All because of that stolen base.
Some NFL news breaking. Yesterday, they officially passed the fair catch rule on the kickoff, which apparently will decrease the concussion rate by 15%. Now, I look at this rule, and the rule is, by the way, you can call a fair catch. If you're behind your own 25, you can call a fair catch whenever you want, and you'll get the ball at the 25. Is this eliminating the need for a good kickoff returner? Reason why I say this is this. Now you're just guaranteed the 25. So every kick is technically going to be a touchback if you need it. Because 9 times out of 10, if you take that ball inside the 5, it's disaster. It never works out. You never, not never, but the percentages are very low to even get back to the 20, right? So what is this doing for football here?
I mean, I think kickoff returners have pretty much been rendered fairly useless anyway at this point.
Based off the new touchback rule.
The 80% of the kickoffs are touchbacks anyway. And if, most teams are willing to give up the 25, and most teams are willing to take the 25. It's like a happy agreement.
Sure.
Here, let's not risk anything. Nobody needs to get
So why don't we
hurt.
just start at the 25 and eliminate the kickoff altogether, honestly?
Because then you have to finesse entire other issues as well when it comes to onside kicks, which they're probably going to do eventually anyway, and I'm sure they already have, and it sucks.
Well, the onside kicks is terrible at this point.
Yeah, there's gonna be things that they have to do to alleviate.
You want to go XFL route and give them a 4th and 15 play?
I don't want to do any of that. I think what they should do is they should put that rule in place, but except for on Thursdays when you get flexed in, you shouldn't be able to call any fair catches. They should just make that no holds barred day, right? Since it's like every other game.
I can't believe that got passed. You're talking about player safety, and you're like, oh, by the way, we're going to give you shorter rest multiple times throughout the course of the year.
I think that there is a little bit of
Unbelievable.
a stretch in terms of like.
But they got to
how-
let these teams know like 28 days in advance or some shit. So it's like it's a long.
I don't think you're even going to see one game get flexed this year on Thursday.
I guarantee you will see the last Thursday night game flexed because of the two teams that are involved, whoever it is. I don't know the schedule off the top of my head. But like, let's just say that last Thursday night matchup is just a dumpster fire, right? If two teams get off to rocket hot starts and they got a matchup late in the season, they'll flex it. They got to flex their muscle eventually. They're going to do it.
I can't see them wanting to flex a game that has significant importance into a Thursday. It just makes it so counterproductive. It's like you're going to provide worse football out of those two teams. You would want to. I would say let these two teams play on Sunday
I think that
night.
networks should be able to like lock certain games. Like maybe if a network is given a 17-game schedule, right? They should be able to lock like 15 of them and say like, you're not taking this game away from us because we know it's going to draw ratings and we know
but
it's
then
going to
there's
be.
like a ton of those games that they're probably like, they could lock them in and then regret it. It's tough.
Well, yeah,
Early
no,
in the year.
of course. I mean, you can get a dud. I mean, remember the Patriots-Bills Monday Night Football game? Some people are calling that a dud. Some people are saying that was the greatest football game ever played. When there was just like no pass attempts by Mac Jones. It was a horrible game to watch if you're looking for, action. But yeah, I mean, the flexing of the schedules is weird. The kickoff rule. The one thing I will say, and this is something to maybe keep in mind, maybe you can look back in September when the season starts and be like, that guy Dave Sturchio over there at Mojo, he said something that makes sense. So the idea to return a kick is that if you're in the end zone and you return and you catch it, if you're in the end zone, you catch it, and you give that quick look around, like you have to be instant. Quick look around and you realize there might be a path. I'm going to take this out, right? Or if it's at the fringe, half-yard line, you're going to take it out, right? Because you feel like there's blocking set up for you for success. Sometimes it doesn't work. It blows up in your face. But what I'm thinking is this. Now that you're trying to make a fair catch, when you're a punt returner making a fair catch, when you have it up there and you know where you're at on the field, you know you're about to get sandblasted sometimes. And you're like, all right, now hell with this crap. Here. And by the time you fall fair catch and you catch it, you can look and realize, yes, good decision. Or, man, I had some field. I predict that there's going to be more fumbled kickoffs with guys worried about how far people are coming at you, and your eyes are not going to be on the ball as much because you have the ability to call a fair catch. I think you take your eyes off the ball, the wind plays tricks, boop, you have yourself a fumble. That's my only prediction, and I did not hear that anywhere else. That's just what I'm thinking overall.
I'm going to push back a little
Is there
bit.
any merit to that? I mean, you're taking your eyes off the field.
I don't think so, based on the fact
off the
that
ball, sorry.
I don't think anybody's going to need to take their eyes off the ball in this case because on a punt, there's hang time. On a kickoff, it's pretty straightforward. There's a further distance to cover, and then you do have the wall of blockers that are set up further back, so like you could pick off a guy that's close to you and take him out. Whereas in a punt, you clear that path of blocking, and now it's just a pretty much straight away. You need to pass. You need to pass the first wave of defenders,
and then you got the punter to beat.
And then you got but then your blockers are then set up for you on the back end of the punt return. Whereas in the kickoff, two things happen here. One, there's probably going to be a guy that's your spotter that's
yelling at you.
It's going to run back from the middle and then tell you, like, hey, fair catch. And you're not even going to have to look, and you're going to just trust that guy, and that's going to be practiced. Or a lot of this is
you're really taking that blocker out of the scheme if you're down, you need a kickoff return.
Well, I mean, in this case, I don't think he's taken out of the scheme because if you watched how they create a lot of these guys, he's running up anyway. So he doesn't have to catch,
Madden.
he doesn't have to catch the ball, so he could look up and down and still get to a spot.
That's
and then
true.
when the ball is about to be caught, turn and do your thing.
You're
That's
debunking
first.
my entire thing.
And second, I just think that it's going to be 99% of the time called by the coach. Fair catch this one.
Yeah, remember that time that Tom Coughlin told, "Hey, don't kick it to Deshaun."
I remember the Ty Montgomery fumble when the Packers came back against the Rams.
What year was this?
This was
recently.
This was recently.
Yeah.
This was. I think it was.
Had to be like 2 years ago because Ty Montgomery just finally left the Packers like last year or something.
No,
like that.
he
2 years
went
ago.
to the Jets. He was on a couple teams.
Oh,
But yeah, it was against the Rams, and I think it was definitely in the Matt LaFleur era.
okay.
For sure.
Couple other NFL things. Foster Moreau, ready for this? He's at OTAs right now. His battle with Hodgkins is unreal. Derek Carr went out there and said, like, this is an unreal story. What's more ridiculous?
What the hell is Derek Carr doing speaking on another team like that?
What's more ridiculous? Foster Moreau, which, by the way, kudos to you, man, beating cancer. That's incredible. Or how about the fact that I saw pictures and videos yesterday of individual drills by Damar Hamlin? Like, 5 months ago, the guy died. The guy was dead on the field. I don't care what you say or how you look at it. Like, that was nuts. Like, the fact that I'm seeing him on the field right now.
This episode's about to get fact-checked.
No, I'm
because what I'm about to say.
What? or maybe is it his clone? Is it his clone?
No, I think it was the vaccine.
Oh God! Stop it! Stop. We're not doing this.
Smart water.
Smart water makes you smart. But anyway, just incredible. I can't believe you said that. It's just an incredible scene to see him back on the football field, let alone like at a rehab facility where he's just trying to get his legs back.
I wonder who's going to win comeback player of the year.
I mean, it's like 1,000% going to be Damar Hamlin. Who else? Like, would you feel bad?
Who's the poor guy that blew his knee out last year?
Right, that's just saying. Do you feel bad for somebody who like completely wrecked his knee, like a Javonte Williams or something like that, or Breece Hall?
I mean, it's got to be somebody that arrived already. Like he has arrived.
Okay, fine. So I don't even know the odds.
So then eliminates Damar Hamlin then because he wasn't good.
He has not arrived. The only thing he arrived at was that Monday Night Football game.
Are we allowed to do that now? That like it's like he's like playing. We could now.
I mean,
say
bro,
he
we
sucks
skipped
again.
the show over that.
No, but we could be like he's not that good of a safety.
Yeah, I mean, look, the story was the story because of what happened on the field. But like, yeah, he was a third down nickel guy.
He's probably the only fringe player in NFL history guaranteed to make the 53-man roster. Guaranteed.
Oh my God!
Could you imagine that?
Comeback player of the year in NFL. I gotta know just anybody who's even around. Okay, all right, here we go. Oh shit! All right, so obviously
Foster Moreau.
Well, no. So Damar Hamlin is the clear-cut odds to win it. He's at plus 250, right? So that's just you're gonna win. Trey Lance, he hasn't arrived yet. So how does he win comeback player of the year? Tua. Whatever, he's a concussion case. Lamar Jackson. He signs the big deal, and now
NFL is struggling. Vegas is struggling. So
Matt Stafford.
I could see why. What?
Cooper Kupp. There you go. Well, if Matt Stafford has a year, that means Cooper Kupp's gonna have a year too. Russ Wilson. Horrible year. Bronco country.
Look,
let's ride.
You named like 6 guys that suck now. It's not even like they're like, what are they gonna do? Come back to
Jimmy Garoppolo at plus 1,200. These guys all got hurt last year, which is nuts. Except for Russ, he just stunk. John Mechie, Rashad Bateman. Holy shit, T.J. Watt. They are struggling. There are some weird, wacky.
John Mechie missed last season with cancer, so I get it.
Really?
He didn't
I don't
play
remember
at
that.
all.
I thought he got hurt. He did, technically. T.J. Watt, Kyler Murray, Chase Young has the ability if he gets on the
cut.
He might get cut. Odell.
He might have a good month.
Yeah.
And then he's done.
Derek Carr's on this list.
Oh man, think about how Ravens. Wait, what?
Derek Carr's on the list. I heard updated Super Bowl odds, by the way. The Baltimore Ravens are up there. They're up there. And it's like, do they really bank on this guy, Lamar Jackson? This guy, Lamar, as if you don't know who he is. Lamar Jackson to be as good as once that, like, I mean, guess what, Lamar? You got to throw a lot this time.
They should be there. They should be up there in terms of, they've just been a consistent playoff contender, and they've won. Like look at Lamar's wins and losses. It's not like
fair assessment.
I don't think that they're going to win the Super Bowl by any stretch.
Injury news before we get out of here. Your boy, Aaron Rodgers, tweaks his calf. Missed a little bit of the OTAs yesterday. I have a question for you, and I heard this on the way in, so this was a story. So Robert Saleh had his press conference yesterday talking about how you temper expectations of your team. Every team goes in, like as a coach, goes in and says, we're contenders. We're Super Bowl contenders, no matter what. That's the goal, to win the Super Bowl. But there's only like 6 to 8 teams in the league that actually believe it. Like he went out and said that. And I was like, okay, so he thinks one of his team is one of the teams that can compete for a title this year. Do you think any head coach goes into the season saying, like, we don't have a prayer?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a rough scene, man. I
do
mean,
you mean,
imagine,
though? Oh,
imagine being Frank Reich walking into Carolina saying, "Guys, we're going to give it our best effort. We're not a championship team, but we're gonna be there."
So
like Houston, imagine being the D'Amico Ryans.
But so do you go into a situation and say
You're a coach, bro. You got to coach them up.
Yeah, coach them up. But you have grown men that understand the reality of the situation. I don't want some guy that's delusional telling me what's going on up there. Like, no, dude. We're gonna win 4 games if we're lucky, right? Like we know what's going on over here. So you can't talk to a group of NFL vets that have been on a good team and have had success in the college football. All of a sudden they're on this shit team, and you're gonna expect me to listen to you, who you probably are half the reason why we suck to begin with. Let's be honest here. You got to be real with your teammates and your team. Otherwise, you lose the locker room to begin with. You know, it's like,
I guess, but I mean, like,
or at what point when you're 1-4.
Like for instance, I got an idea. I got a comparison. Not NFL. We're going to college now. Deion Sanders going to Colorado. Do you think that he goes into these meetings where he's like, I'm going to bring my baggage and I'm going to bring my team and I'm going to bring all this? Does he honestly think Colorado can compete for a national title year one?
No, they're going to get pasted in that conference.
I'm saying, but what's he going to do? Is Deion going to go out there and say, well, you know?
No, but Deion's not saying that they're going to win a title or win the conference. He's saying that it's going to take hard work and they're making the changes. I don't think Deion's making any win-loss predictions or
no, but
he's just changing the culture, and that's different.
That he is.
But does anybody in the country at all, up to and including Deion, think that they're going to win?
Maybe Kyle does.
No.
We'll talk with him.
No, he does not. I can promise you that.
Anyway.
Like, there's still some powerhouse
of course there
schools
is.
in that conference, bro. They're going to get the shit kicked out of them.
You can follow all things Mojo on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and the Twitter machine at Mojo, M-O-J-O. Very easy to find us. And, of course, join the Discord. There's a lot to go to talk about tonight. Obviously, no basketball. What in God's creation are we going to talk about tomorrow? We'll figure all that out because – that's what we do over here. So for Dave Sturchio, Chris Gucci, this has been another episode of the Mojo Market Report. I got to talk over a marching band. I'll see you guys tomorrow.